Lot of people ask me this question. Varun, if I solve thousands of PMP exam questions, sample questions, can I pass the PMP exam? The answer is no, you will not. PMP exam is not just about questions. You need to have solid foundation of concepts so that any PMP question which comes in your exam, you will be able to answer it with logic. So, if your expectation from this video, the PMP exam questions will come, then you can switch off this video right away. This is not the purpose of this video. Purpose of this video is to make sure you find very similar PMP exam questions so that you are not surprised in real PMP exam. These 15 questions which I have selected are very, very, very important. I have handpicked these PMP questions from thousands of questions to give you nothing but the best. It will use my Einstein technique, it will use my Neil Armstrong technique, and my most popular elimination technique to answer these very, very, very important PMP exam questions. But let me tell you one thing. I don't record these type of videos because it takes a lot of effort and time at my end. This is my third video. Once again, I repeat, this is my third video in last 4 years. First video I recorded was in 2019 and I have more than 500,000 views. Second video which I recorded in September 2021 and it has already reached around 80,000 views. Thousands of people have already commented on that, shared their love with me. Trust me, you will thank me for this video later. I am 101% confident about it. So let's go right into it. Oh, if you are wondering who is this guy with long hair, then please don't go on my looks and please take me seriously, as I am someone who has already helped thousands of people all across the globe to help pass their PMP exam. And my name is Varun Anand, founder and CEO of EDU HubSpot, EHS. Question number 1. But before I start talking about this question and explaining you what it is all about, I have one small request. As you saw previously, my video has been commented by thousands of people, right? This is what I want you to do as well. When you read this question, come up with an answer what you think is correct. In the comment section of YouTube, make sure you write your explanation, you write the correct answer. Don't just tell me that Varun A is correct or B is correct. No, I don't want to listen to that. I know what the correct answer is. But give me the reasoning why you think option A is good or option B is good. Since it's a YouTube video, I cannot, give you few minutes to answer each and every question, but I want you to pause the video after reading the question. Don't hear to my explanation. Use your brain, use your logic, then comment on it, and then only play the video to understand whether your understanding and my understanding are on the same page or what you need to do to learn. Once again, guys, I have spent lot of time to explain these questions. So it takes a lot of time. My hard work is put into this video. So I would want you to do that hard work as well. If I'm taking weeks to just come up with one video, trust me, it involves like so many people at the back end just to make this one small video. So please do respect that. Read the questions, come up with the logic so that I can help you. That's the whole purpose. Otherwise, I can't give these type of concepts for free, of course. I'm still giving it, right? Because I genuinely want you to help, genuinely want you to pass this exam in your first attempt. So let's read. You are the project manager of an agile software project which is security classified. The project requires external expertise and delivery to add a module based on machine learning. An approved supplier asks you to join their daily meetings with the supplier's agile team. However, your day is filled with internal meetings. By which of the following options can the two teams synchronize interactively but less frequently? So we read a question, and you always know that Varun is always about, finding the right keywords and all. By looking at this question, and remember guys, in your PMP exam, you will find only scenario based questions. I repeat, you're not getting a straightforward question, yes, no, or this is the definition. If you're using a source where straightforward questions are coming, then trust me, throw that source in the garbage, because your PMP exam will not be like that. Your PMP exam will be all about scenario questions which I'm gonna talk in this video. So if you read this question properly, you know that we have to find the keywords. Like for example, people come to me and say, Varun, machine learning. I don't know what machine learning is. It's okay. That doesn't matter. It just shows you the concept behind it. So let's see. In this question, if you read properly, the supplier is asking you to join their daily meetings, basically, so that there is some kind of interaction. Not very frequently, but there is some kind of interaction. What can you do? A, come up with a common electronic Kanban. You can do that because in this way everyone can look at on the Kanban board, so that's not a bad choice. B, have iterations aligned with common retrospective. Iterations aligned with common retrospective, I personally don't like it. The reason why I don't like it is because if you're doing retrospectives, you're probably doing it on a monthly basis, or monthly basis. Typically it's on a monthly basis. But if you're doing, there are so many things, the team members might not be comfortable sharing it with the third person, right? Someone who's outside the organization. That is not the right time to share information like these. So B is definitely out. C, add a scrum or scrum layer and execute it. Yes, that's a good choice, because I think the purpose of scrum or scrum layer is to make sure that if you don't have time, that the project is too huge, too many people involved, then you do scrum of scrum so that you can meet on more frequently basis and get the right answer, basically get the share the status and everything. Come up with a fishbowl window for each site. Okay, what is a fishbowl window? Let me explain you. Fishbowl window is like, there is a recording which goes on. You play that recording if it's a virtual environment, and everyone comes in, they talk, and they just leave. Basically, it's like, if you know how a fishbowl is, and again, I know this is not the purpose of explaining the concepts in this video, but I can't control it. Basically, a fishbowl is, what a fishbowl is, right? There are fishes in a bowl, and whosoever, like all the fishes who are there, they are allowed to interact. And then there are some visitors who are outside the fishbowl, and they are not allowed to talk. Whenever they want to talk, they will come in the fishbowl, talk, and move on. Similarly, you can replace the fishbowl with like seats. Like, let's say if there are 10 seats, 9 people will sit, 4 or 5 people will just stand. They are the visitor. 9 people will have a conversation. The person who wants to join the conversation will come on the 10th seat, and there would be one person who is not that involved, just move on from its own. That's your fishbowl. Now, a fishbowl window in this particular question, if you see, they needed some kind of interaction, not that frequently. Fishbowl is like very aggressive, if you ask me. So D is definitely out. If you selected option D and you thought that, hey, this is a new term, and I want to select that, then that's not the answer. That's not the logic. Always use a concept. So basically, we are left with 2 options now. Option A, come up with a common electronic Kanban, and C, add a scrum or scrum layer. Now, if you select for option A, which I said is not that bad, I would say it's not the best answer choice, because if you have a common Kanban board, there is still chance of making a mistake. What if someone is not reviewing the Kanban board? Yes, you can say that, that's their problem, but still, right? If you specifically have a scrum or scrum meetings, then, that, my calendar is booked for this particular meeting. You have to go there and you have to discuss the pain points or things and other things like that. So out of A and C, C is definitely a better choice. Question 2. You are an agile project manager. The agile project that you are managing is at the end with all the stories completed on schedule and all the tests passed. However, the customer does not consider the product a success. Which of the following is most effective way to prevent this outcome in the projects to follow? So if you read this question properly, this is a prevention type of question. So sometimes you will get in a question in the exam where they will ask, as a project manager, as an agile coach, as a scrum master, what will you do next? Those are next type of questions. Sometimes you will get questions in the exam that how can you prevent these type of scenarios, right? So that is where this question particularly lies. So now if you read the question properly, everything went well, however, customer is still not satisfied. What could be that reason? How could you have prevented that situation? Let's see. A. Obtain customer feedback on incremental release demos and user tests. I would say if you are getting a feedback on a regular basis, that situation might have been resolved. So looks like a good choice. B. Make sure that the test plan incorporate non-functional requirements in the backlog. Did anywhere in the question it said that the customer was not happy because of non-functional requirements? Like, how did you assume that even that since the non-functional requirements were not done, that's why the customer is not satisfied? What if you would have done the non-functional requirements? You cannot take that assumption because that information is not given to you in the question. C. Before developing the product backlog, ensure that the product vision is approved by the customer. Let's say if it's a 6-month project. The product vision would have been done like in a very early stages of the project, right? So even if you made sure that the vision is aligned, still there could be 100 things throughout that 6 months duration that might change, right? So you cannot go for option C. D. Come up with an agreement with the customer on success stories which are to be integrated in the definition of done. So first of all, what is definition of done? Definition of done is basically if I'm able to do these things, then only my product or project considered is to be a success. So yes, you can have a discussion on the success criteria, made sure that it is in alignment with the definition of done. So this could have prevented the situation. Let's see which one of these two would be the best answer. Now guys, remember one thing, that 90% of the time in your actual PMP exam, you will boil down to two questions, two answer choices, not two questions, two answer choices, where you would be confused that which one is the best. And typically people say that, Varun, I'm selecting the second best answer choice. This just means that you just need more practice. You just need more understanding, more concepts. That's it. If you can, there would be a time when you will be solving the first answer choice, the first pick. Let's read the answer choice again. A. Obtain customer feedback on incremental release demos and user tests. So basically you are doing that more frequently. Very good. Exactly. That could have helped to prevent the situation. B. Come up with an agreement with customer on success criteria. So you are coming up with the success criteria. What if customer said that, this product which I have created, if I, drop this product from 6 feet height, it should not break. And let's say that's a success criteria. Yes, it's not breaking. But what if customer doesn't like the, size of that product, the width of that product, the height of that product, whatever, right? So option D is not a bad choice, but still it is not the best choice because you need to have more frequent, discussions so that these kind of situation doesn't happen in future. So answer choice A is the best choice. I hope guys you're liking it. Once again, these are very important questions. Please don't forget to pause it, understand with me, try to use your own logic first before you listen to my reasoning, and most importantly, please comment. I want to read it. Trust me, I reply to each and every comment. YouTube is very, very close to me. This is actually something which made me famous. So, I'm doing this personally, everything. I reply. You can see that, yourself. Anyways, let's come to the point. Let's do question number 3. Yes, I talk a lot, but I talk good. Once again, don't go on my long hair. Okay, you're managing a mobility project. Your team informs you that they cannot begin testing the individual modules until you have completed the development of all requirements. Dash type of relationship is your team referring to. So guys, if you see, this is a straightforward question. Now, when I say in exam, straightforward questions are not coming, yes, this is a type of example where I can say that the exam questions are not coming. But this is a very, very, very important technique. Not technique, a very important question, because I'm over here, I'm showing you 2 things. First, fill in the blanks question. These are new type of PMP questions which PMI has set up. So that's why I wanted you to have a look and feel of these type of questions. Secondly, this concept overall, it's part of your schedule management, and this is very, very important. Lot of people get confused and Varun, I don't understand the relationships, so help me to find out. Now, honestly, I won't be able to do justice to the concept in just one question. So you really need to practice more and more questions, and you really need more detailed information on these type of questions. That's on my website www.eduhubspot.com. You can visit there. I have a complete library of videos where you can learn these concepts. But let me try my best to make sure you understand the concept in this video, or in this particular question type. So many of my students were getting this type of questions wrong. So I came up with this technique, which is diagonal relationship technique. Yes, I come up with these funny names because I try to make your life easier. So what is this diagonal relationship technique? You read a sentence where a relationship is defined. Based on that, you come up with keywords. You write those keywords on a piece of paper, and then the correct answer is you flip it. What do I mean by that? Let me show you. Let's read this question. Your team informs you they cannot begin testing individual modules until you have completed the development of all the requirements. So this is the statement where a relationship is defined, and they are asking us finish to finish, finish to start, whatever. Now you'll read a question and you will come up with that keyword. Once again, your team informs you they cannot begin testing. Begin is basically your keyword over here. So write down begin on a piece of paper. Now, what is begin? Begin is basically a synonymous term to start. In start also you start something, and begin also you do something. So write down start, dash, hyphen. Your team informs you they cannot begin testing individual modules until you have completed the development of all requirements. Completed. What is completed? You finish something, right? So completed means finish. So same thing. So write start, hyphen, finish. So now you will say the answer is start to finish, right? Nope. The answer is not start to finish. The answer to this question is the flipped version of the statement, which is finish to start. Now a lot of people used to ask me, Varun, why did you flip it? Honestly, I don't know why I flipped it. Trust me, there is no logic to it why I flipped it. I flipped it because I wanted to flip it. No, I've tried and tested this technique to so many questions, these type of questions, and this always works. So make sure you are flipping the answer. So the correct answer is the flipped version, which is finish to start. Okay, you're welcome. I know you liked it. You learned something new, at least from this video. But you know what? Whole throughout this journey, you will learn a lot. I'm recording this video in one single stretch, and the preparation has taken weeks to come up with this video. So I'm pretty sure you would love it. Next question, 4. An agile team is blocked for several weeks on problem. One of the team members solves the problem. Okay, good. However, post release of the software, it appears that the solution being implemented caused the function to fail. The quality in charge demands an explanation. Which of the following reveal as to how should the project manager react? So problem came in and now they are asking what should you do next? Basically, this is another example of what should you do next type of question. And most importantly, this is a multiple answer selection question. What do I mean by that? In this question, you have to select two answer choices. Real PMP, you're gonna get these type of questions a lot. PMI has recently implemented this thing and many questions are coming like these. So very, very, very important. Now if you see a person implemented something which worked well at that time, but that resulted in a big problem at a later stage. So A, tell the director that mistakes are inevitable but will get corrected. Okay, I mean, problem came in and this is unavoidable. I think it's a childish reason, to be honest. Of course you will correct it. It's your job to correct it, but there has to be some logic, right? There has to be some kind of reasoning. Come up with definition of ready by working with the teams. Okay, what is definition of ready? I have to explain it. So let's keep this answer choice. C, work with the team and examine the gaps in definition of done. Okay, another good choice because, and I think I explained you what definition of done is, but let me do that again. People get confused between what is definition of ready and definition of done. So I'm going to explain it to you. Ask the team members to explain his rationale and lessons learned. Very important. Good choice. Because at least if you compare this with option number A, where you are saying that you're telling the manager, you're telling the director that this is unavoidable, we can't. In option D, at least you're trying to understand what was the reason, what is the lesson learned, how you can make sure this doesn't get, you don't repeat that in future. So all this is very important. So D is, I think, definitely a good choice out of the two. And E, warn the team member about not taking risky initiatives. Seriously? Just because a mistake happened, you will say that to person that don't take risky initiative? I always take risky initiatives. I do that because risk can be a threat, risk can be an opportunity, and we are working towards an opportunity. So yes, E is definitely out. Okay, so out of B and C, one is the correct answer, and we have to find out that. And that part you will understand when you know what is the difference between definition of done and definition of ready. So what is definition of done? Definition of done is let's say if I'm talking about a product, done means that the size of the phone, and I'm talking about a phone. Why? Because I don't know, a phone is in front of me. I'm a very hands-on person. So definition of phone, definition of done for me when this phone is manufactured is the size of this phone should be 3 inches, 4 inches, whatever. The width of this should be 1 inch. If I drop this phone from a height of 5 feet, it shouldn't break. For me, this is definition of done. Things which I do to make sure that this is considered to be complete. That's definition of done. Now, what is definition of ready? Just 1 minute. Let me keep down this phone. What is definition of ready? Definition of ready is that, these are the list of things which should be done so that you can even pick up this module. Like for example, for me to record this video, there were, as I told you, so many things like the questions needs to be selected. First, different types of questions should be selected. Then the software, not a software, basically this is my own website where I'm sharing this question. The website link has to be ready. Then cameras, lighting, my editor. There are so many people involved to do this. All these has to be ready so that I can go ahead and even pick up the video to start recording. Recording is basically the last step at my end, and then my talented team member he does his magic to make this look beautiful. I make mistakes, trust me, but he makes it beautiful so that you don't find out that mistakes. Now, but please don't, start finding mistakes in this video. That's not the purpose. Let's come back to the basics. Okay, so definition of ready is, these are the list of things. It should be done before you even pick up the module. So what was this is already done, right? The problem has already happened. Now problem has already, and you are asking what you can do in the future, what you learn from it. See, come up with definition of ready by working with the team, okay? C, work with the team and examine the gaps in the definition of done. So in option C, you are actually finding the gaps. Where did we miss? In option B, ready is like you just pick up the module, right? It just doesn't look nice. Not nice, I would say. It doesn't look right over here. The problem is with the done, because the work is already done and you need to understand the gaps, why and how you missed. Not about you have to pick up a module. The work is already done. It's already live. So B doesn't make sense. So the correct answer is option C and option D, which we have already discussed. Ooh, next one, question number 5. I hope you're not getting bored. Keep up the momentum with me because as I told you, I have explained my Neil Armstrong technique. I have explained my Einstein technique, my elimination technique, which I am already using. And I'm sharing different types of questions. By the end of the 15th question, you will simply say, wow, I learned so much from this video. You can see that in the comments of my previous questions video. People just love it. So please bear with me for few more minutes. It's not few because I also don't know how much I will, time I will take to explain, but just appreciate the effort so that ultimately the goal is for you to learn. So let's go ahead. Your company was recently awarded a series of new projects from your existing customer. Your team wants to know which relevant project life cycle to use in which new project. Match each of the terminologies with the correct scenario or definition. Now, another important question and another very confusing topic. Lot of people get confused. Lot of people get confused in this. They don't understand the difference between iterative and incremental life cycle. The most confusing. Or what is this agile life cycle? What is the difference between agile life cycle and iterative and incremental? So don't worry if this is one of the topic which you are confused with, then I have a video. It's free of cost. It's available on YouTube also. I'll give the link in the my description of the YouTube. You can watch that, and I'm pretty sure that after watching that video, this topic is something which you would never ever forget in your life. I promise you will never ever forget in your life. Okay, let's see. And the second reason why this question is very, very important is because this question is about the drag and drop. Another new type of questions where we are seeing a lot of questions in the PMP exam on this type. So I'm going to explain that to you. So on the left hand side, you have some topics, basically that the terms, and right hand side is the definition, or I would say it is the a scenario, and you have to pick and choose among that. So let's see. First of all, what is a predictive life cycle? Let's first read the answer choice first, the definition. From there I can tell you which is what. Okay, first one. A project where scope will be determined early in the project life cycle, but the time and cost will be constantly modified. Okay. Team will do series of repeated cycles until it reaches perfection. So if you read this properly, first of all, the first is like the scope is already determined in the project life cycle. So that part, but time and cost is constantly changing. So that's the first keyword for you. Basically that the time and cost is changing, scope is fixed. And secondly, the more important keyword over here in this question is that you will do the series until it reaches perfection. Till it reaches perfection. Important, very important. I'll come up to that. So that first let's eliminate the easy ones. I'll keep up to this. So let's first do B now. A project where scope, cost and time will be determined in the early phases of the life cycle. Very simple. All these three things are already done and you have to work accordingly, which is your predictive life cycle. In predictive life cycle, everything is determined in the beginning and then you start the work. That's your predictive life cycle. So B is definitely predictive life cycle. Let's just put it. Okay. Let's read C now. Scope is constantly changing for the new deliverable, but rollout of the deliverable will be done in a known phased approach. Okay, so scope is constantly changing, and typically if scope is constantly changing, you don't use predictive where everything is fixed. You definitely use agile over there. So that part is kind of something which is changing. The next statement, but the rollout of the deliverable would be done in known phased approach. So basically you are using something which you already know, and this is kind of fixed. So which is like predictive. So in this particular scenario, both agile as well as predictive is being explained. So this question is definitely hybrid, which is a mixture of predictive and agile. That's hybrid. Hybrid is very, very important, guys. I've explained about hybrid on my website www.eduhubspot.com. So let's see. So option C is your hybrid life cycle. And finally, the last answer choice, a project which needs to be launched in the market as quickly as possible. Okay, now, so we are left with two option choices, and on the left also we have iterative and incremental, the most confusing one. Once again, the link is in the description of my video for this particular question type. Now, in iterative, you do something multiple times until it reaches perfection. Like I'm recording this video, I will record this video 100 times until I myself feel that this is the best video out there. If I'm using something like this, that's known as iterative life cycle. So your option A is iterative life cycle because you're doing something, constantly, not something you're doing constantly to reach to the perfection stage. And finally, now we know that only one answer choice is left. So that's your incremental, but let me explain you also, which says a project which needs to be launched in the market as quickly as possible. So you will make something and you will just launch it. Yes, of course, it has to be market ready and then do it. Like for this video, I didn't use incremental life cycle. I use iterative life cycle. I handpicked, once again, when I said I handpicked these 15 questions out of 1,000 questions, I literally mean it, guys. On my website, there are, more than 1,000 questions, but I handpicked these questions because I know these are very, very, very important questions. So I did iterative life cycle until it reaches perfection. I don't come up with videos on a weekly basis. I don't come up with videos on a even monthly basis. This is my third video in last 4 years, like this type of video. Why? Because I love the quality. I respect quality. Okay, so that's what your answer is, incremental life cycle. You're part of an agile team tasked to come out with a food product. A new regulation from the food authorities has mandated the presence of consumer warning on labels which were previously not present. However, the product package covering is too small to accommodate the added information. The agile team decides to solve the problem, but coming out with the information on a fold out flap. Okay, the start of the mass production of new labels is slated to begin in a week. Which of the following steps should your agile team do next? Right? So now people say that, I did a question on security and all those things. I'm not from IT. Similarly, I'm not from food background, but still you see a question over there, right? It doesn't matter from which industry type you are. What matters is the concept, the logic behind it. Now, very good question. Once again, if you see, which of the following steps should your agile team do next? So next type of questions. They gave a scenario, they explained a problem, and they're asking you to solve that problem. A, request approval from the steering committee to go ahead with the change. what is a steering committee? Steering committee is like, all the big people in your organization. When I say big people, I mean, more powerful people. They are part of the steering committee and they take decisions on important things like that. A is not a bad choice. You can say that. B, develop a prototype and submit it to the label manufacturer for approval. Once again, a good choice. But would you straight away go for an approval before? Just because I came up with an idea does not mean that I have to start working on the prototype. It takes time and money to do the prototype also, right? So I would say B is a good choice, but definitely not my next choice. This is my Neil Armstrong technique. What do I mean by Neil Armstrong technique? Like Neil Armstrong, I think he was the first person to go on moon. And correct me if my understanding is wrong, but I think so. But do you know who is the second person who went to the moon? I'm pretty sure. I also don't know that, right? So you might also not know that. You might, if you know, very good. Hats off to you. But typically 90-95% people would not know that. But they would know what Neil Armstrong was, who Neil Armstrong was. So always select in questions like these where it says, what will you do next? Select the first step you will do. Select the first person basically who was Neil Armstrong in that case. So that's it. So B, develop a prototype, good choice, but definitely not my first choice, my third, fourth, fifth step maybe. So B is definitely out. C, use the sprint backlog to reflect the additional product label requirement. Yes, good. You added that in the backlog and now you are tracking it to work on it. So C is not a bad choice as well. D, check with the compliance team to determine the validity of the selected format. Oh, wow, good. Now, if you see, the problem was raised by the compliance team only. If you see, it says a new regulation from the food authorities has mandated the presence. However, the product packaging is too small. It decides the problem with the information, the start. Exactly. This is a compliance issue. This is not a steering committee issue. So even if, let's say, out of A and C and D, if you select, we have three answer choices which is left. Steering committee is not a good choice. Why? Because, like the VP, your senior VP who is part of your steering committee, they might not know what compliance is, right? You really need an expert to tell you whether this is the correct thing to do or not. So out of, I would say A and D, A is definitely out. Now between C and D, I would say C is a good choice. But as per Neil Armstrong, if you remember, is it my next choice? Is it my next choice? Yes, you can add it in the backlog, but not at the moment. You're not really sure, do you have to do this or not? Until your compliance team gives you the go ahead that yes, this is the right thing to do. So option D is my better, or is option D is my very next step, and then after that I can come up and do make an option C or do option B, do a prototype. So that's why my correct answer choice should be D. Question 7. You are part of an agile team which comprises of highly skilled product design engineers. The design engineers have earned new duties based on their reputation for quality and speed. However, in this role, the team output has dropped steeply as compared to their design work. Which of the following measures are the most effective to improve team productivity in the present scenario? So first of all, this team is made of design engineers. Design engineers are very popular for quality and speed. That's what the question is saying. However, in some time, like these days, we are seeing that the productivity is going down. The team output has dropped. So something is going on, right? You have to pick what it could be, or how can you resolve this issue basically? How can you increase the productivity of the team? A, come out with a creativity spike in the next iteration. Yes. So something is not going right and you need to have some measure, some steps to be taken to make sure that you correct it. So A option looks good. Now if you don't know what spike is, once again I have explained spike in my agile videos on my website www.eduhubspot.com. You can go there and understand there are different types of spikes. I'll give you a hint what spike is right now, but of course if you need detail and more information, because spike is very important, you have to watch my video on spike on my website. Spike is basically you set aside some time from your regular sprints which you are doing to discuss one problem. Like, for example, if it's a risk spike, there is a risk on the project and you really need to resolve that, you will have a separate time boxed event to understand the problems, like what's going on, how to resolve that, come up with a solution to that. That's your spike. So in this question, something is not going right, you will do a spike. I think, you know what, this is one of the correct choice. I feel so, because that's what the spike is. So if you know the definition of spike, you know the correct answer is A. B, ensure team motivation through team building event. Yes, that may help. I'm not saying that. An okay choice, but is it my first choice? We will read based on the other choices. C, recruit more T-shaped profiles into the team. Okay, now this entire team is based on design engineers. So you sometimes, if you do something repetitively, people get bored, right? So they are constantly doing the same stuff again and again, and after a while there is monotonous thing which hits. So T-shaped skills, another agile term. Go to my website, not now, after the video, to understand what T-shaped skills is. Let me give you a little bit of about T-shaped skills. Like T-shaped skills is like skills which you know little bit about everything. That's your T-shaped skills. So recruit more, those kind of people who can do multiple things. Yeah, this is how these days things work. So C is a good choice too. D, get help from the creative thinkers to mentor the team. You can do that, but is it my first choice? I don't know. Let's see. E, extend the iterations to adjust the new tasks. Strictly no. You cannot, just because the team productivity has gone down, you will take the extreme step of extending the iterations. And most importantly, is it even the right thing to do? Is it like even allowed to increase the iterations? Right? No, this is not our choice. So E is definitely out. So now A we know is the correct choice, and we are left with two choices, which is B, which is do a team building event. Oh, sorry, we have three choices, or do more T-shaped profile people, and D, which is get more creative thinkers to mentor the team. I mean, you can do all of these, but the problem which is actually resolving the root cause out of all three is when you hire the T-shaped profile people. Because if you have more people who have, who know about different things, the productivity eventually will go up. Someone who is feeling monotonous, someone who is not able to come up, it's getting bored. If you have T-shaped skills, you can move that person to some other work or some other module so that the productivity is kept on. This is a problem which will resolve the root cause of the problem, right? Other option choices are good, not bad, but it's not resolving the root cause. Option C is actually resolving the root cause. Okay, another drag and drop question. Let's see. Question number 8. Almost done, guys. 50% is done, and I hope you are learning from it. But let's continue this. I'm pretty sure you will enjoy this. Liquidra is managing a project and is working with her stakeholders to estimate the cost on project activities. There are many estimating techniques which she is planning to undergo on her project. Match each of the following estimation techniques with their correct scenario and definition. Now, a few days back, somebody on YouTube asked me, Varun, when are you recording your new video on PIMBOK 7th edition questions? And the reason why I'm saying is because this topic, estimation techniques, is part of the 6th edition, and I've deliberately added this in this. Guys, PMP exam is not based on PIMBOK 7th edition. PMP exam is this is just one reference book, and there are so many reference books. See this on PMI's website. It's clearly mentioned PMP exam is based upon your exam content outline. And exam content outline is very important. That's where, so it's not about 7th edition, it's not about 6th edition. So that's why I'm explaining this question, which is kind of type part of 6th edition. Still, the estimation techniques are very important. So that is the reason I'm explaining this topic, because I wanted to tell you that that PMP exam is based upon exam content outline and not any PMBOK or, that's just one reference book. Okay. However, guys, I made this free exam content outline tool, which if you need, you can definitely have it. It's very fancy, fun, and as you can see, the entire exam content outline has been explained. If you need it, the only thing I ask you to do is go to my website www.eduhubspot.com. You see an option over there where see book a free demo, or you see on the bottom right a chat session. Just set up a meeting with my sales team from the book a free demo or from the chat, and after the discussion will show you how our product works, and they will give it for you to free. No strings attached. If you don't want to take my course, it's absolutely fine. If you've already studied somewhere else, it's absolutely fine. There's no strings attached. You can have this tool for free, but the only thing I ask you to do is attend a free session with my team, so that we can at least explain you how we do, how we are giving thousands of PMPs to this industry, and this is very, very important. That's the only reason. So okay, let's see. Come back, drag and drop, and if I am a man of keywords. I explain the entire PMP concepts through keywords, right? So same question, what you see on your left, I have keywords for everything, but we will read it on the right first, and then we will select our choices. First, Lakhidra is planning to use work packages to estimate and make her way up on the WBS. If you see what she's using I would say one of the best techniques, a perfect technique, where she is giving numbers to work packages, and based on that she is adding it up to the WBS. So basically she is using bottom up estimation. That's exactly the definition of bottom up is. You give numbers. When I say numbers, it could be cost or time, schedule numbers, and then you add it to come up with that. So that's your definitely option A is your bottom up estimation. Okay, let me put it. Next, cable installation activity is directly proportional to the number of labor hours put in by the staff. Okay, another important, guys, remember one thing. This is basically your parametric estimation. Parametric estimation, the keyword for parametric estimation is per. P-E-R, per. Now you might understand what is per and all. I've explained this in very detailed on my website in my another video, but what parametric is, like 10 miles per hour, 100 miles per hour. Whenever you see things like that, that's your parametric. In this question, it says cable installation is directly proportional to the number of labor hours. So it's not directly using the logic of per, but still, proportionality is basically the same thing. It's about, what you do in X amount of time or, Z amount of time. So that's your parametric estimation. Some of the activities on the project have been done previously in some other similar project. Okay, that's exactly, you all know, my students definitely know the answer to this question, because the keyword for analogous estimation is previous similar projects. In this answer choice, it's clearly saying similar projects. That's your analogous. Oops, sorry. And now we know the last choice is 3 point, but let me read it out, please. For some of the activities, a range of estimates is preferred due to insufficient historical data. So if you see a range of estimates, that's exactly your 3 point, where there is a range, where you say that this is beta distribution, this is all that estimation which we did, the most likely, the negative scenario, the pessimistic, optimistic, that's your 3 point estimation. So this is the correct choice. I hope you learned something good in this particular question. Question number 9. You're working as a project manager on a hybrid project. You and your team completed almost 60% of the project. Suddenly, functional manager removed a key project team member, and that team member will be unavailable for an extended period of time. This will create an impact on the project schedule and budget. What should the project manager do? So basically, you're working on a project and your team member has been removed, who is an important person, and what should you do next? Let's see. A. Note this in the project life cycle and update the project. Oh, not life cycle, my bad. It says note this in the project file and update the project management plan. First of all, I don't know what project file is. I've never heard this term. So if you hear these new terms which you have never heard of, then that's never the correct choice. So A is definitely out. B. Inform the team members about the unavailability and ask them to take care of. So now if you see this, tell the team members about it, which is a correct statement. But the second statement, ask them to take care of. Yes, you have to, someone has to do the work. So that's not a bad choice actually. B. C. Contact the key resource and demand an explanation for the unavailability. You already know that function manager has removed. What can the poor resource do? So option C is just doesn't make sense. That's gone. D. Provide the project stakeholders with an updated delivery date and budget impact and submit a change request. Very good choice. I would say out of option B and D, definitely D is more process oriented. Remember, your exam content outline, your PMI exam is based upon 3 particular domains, which is people, process, and finally, which is your business environment. So if this is a process part, what should you do next? Which is your option D. Provide the project stakeholders with an updated delivery date and budget impact and submit a change request. So this looks better because you're following a proper process of telling the stakeholders and not just your team members, which was your option B. And most importantly, you are doing a change request. Change request is very, very tricky. A lot of people get confused, and PMI's favorite is change request. A lot of questions comes on change request as well. Once again, I've recorded a video on change request, an important topic, and that's available on my website as well. So the correct answer should be option D. Yoo-hoo! Okay. Question number 10. Why I'm getting so excited? It's mathematics. Okay. Now, lot of times, my students are telling me that, Varun, we are not getting questions on maths, hardly few questions on maths. Now, maths used to be very important topic for the PMP exam. But if, let's say, you're not numbers person, you don't like maths, then don't worry. It's not a big deal because maths is not that important. However, Varun has still given a question on maths in his most important 15 questions. Why? Guys, few days back, one of my student failed the exam, and I repeat, she failed. Yes, I have a success rate of 99.9 or 99.8 or 3, whatever. But yes, sometimes few students fail the exam also. Now, this student, and again, I'm telling you, and then you might say that, hey, Varun is telling, so why should I take training from Varun? Guys, it's not. There are 1,000, 10,000 reasons why someone fails the exam. So it's not about my capability or my caliber, or it's not about students' capability or caliber. Trust me, the student is very, very bright. If I start talking about the credentials of that student, you will be amazed. I mean, can person like this can also fail? Yes, there are, once again, I don't want to go into that, but that student failed. But look, what was the score? Like where and how she failed. This was like, sometimes people fail with these margins also, like hardly 1 or 2 questions she missed. Now, if I'm saying maths is not that important, and if you completely ignored maths because of this statement, then in situation like this, where you just need 1 or 2 more questions correct, you will fall in the left side. And we don't want you to lie on the left side. I want you to be on the right side, right? The pass, the above target. My student don't just pass, my student pass with above target score. And that's what happened to this student also. We worked for another week. She was so bright that I was like, literally I was in tears when I heard this news that she failed the exam. We worked together. I worked with her personally for a week, and this was her result after a week. She passed the exam with a bang. Yes, that's exactly right. She did the hard work and she deserved to be on the right side of the line, not on the left side of the line. And this, why I'm telling you all this is because of maths. Even though maths is not that important, but 2-3 questions here and there can make all the difference. And if you're not a maths person, it's absolutely fine. I have recorded videos on my maths section, which you would simply love it. I'm pretty sure. You might say that Varun feels so overconfident. No, guys, I am overconfident, which is a good thing. But I am confident because my students pass the exam, because that email which I get from my students on daily basis that they pass, because of the gifts which I get all over the world. Yes, people when was the last time you gifted something to your trainer or teacher or something? I personally gifted it to my father because he was my teacher. He is my teacher. He's a mathematics professor. Now he has retired. But people don't do that. Only people who do that if someone has gone out of the way. And that's what we do. Go out of the way. Do that hand holding, because it's all marketing things which I'm saying. But trust me, guys, I really, really mean it. If you pass the exam, I have a selfish reason, because I know I want to grow. If you pass, you will probably shout on top of your voice and say to everyone that, Varun, it's Edu HubSpot team who helped me pass the exam. I get more students out of this. So that's why. And again, I feel that sense of satisfaction that someone has passed because of me. So these things are very, very important. Okay, let's come back. Again, I'm moving away from the topic. Not A. Let me read the question. I explain mathematics using keywords also. Once again, yes, you might be surprised, but that's how I do it. Question. The project budget is $100,000. So whenever you see a term like this, this means it's your BAC. BAC is your $100,000. You have completed 20% worth of work. Now, once again, guys, I won't be able to do justice in explaining maths in just one question, but I have a keyword that, not a keyword, I have many keywords. What I'm trying to say is that for few points, like for your maths, you really need to know what EV is, earned value, what PV is, planned value, what your AC is, actual cost. If you know these three things, you can definitely answer these type of questions which you see on the screen. EV, PV and AC. And there are keywords for all these three. First of all, AC is your actual cost. Write it somewhere, because email it, do it in your phone somewhere. The keyword for AC actual cost is spent, SPENT. If you read the third statement in this question, the total money spent so far is 15,000. That's your actual cost. So wherever you see the word spent, make it down. It's your actual cost. Now, next, you have PV. What is PV? Planned value. Something which you have planned. Like I have planned that I'm gonna record one video every month. Am I doing it? So planned value is the amount of work you should do. Okay? EV is your earned value. Earned value is the actual amount of work you did. So I was saying that I'm going to record one video per month, but I'm recording, let's say, 3 videos per month. So I'm doing better. Or I'm recording one video in 3 months. So I'm doing bad, right? So that's your earned value. So and both earned value and planned value is calculated on your BAC. What do I mean by that? Let's read the second statement. You have completed 20% worth of work. This means you have actually completed, right? So actually completed is always your earned value. So your earned value is 20% of your BAC, 100,000. So it is 20,000. Now, However, you should have completed. So should have completed is the keyword for PV, planned value. Because what is planned value? The amount of work you should have done, like what you were planning to do, right? So PV is your 30% of your BAC, which is 30,000. Now it's simple. What is the project status? Now, how to calculate the status? Basically, you need to know the formulas for CV and SV. Cost value and your SV, not cost value, cost variance and your schedule variance. So what is first EV? What is first SV? SV is your EV minus PV. EV minus PV. So EV is my 20,000, PV is my 30, so it's 20 minus 30,000, which is negative 10,000. Negative is bad. Always remember, you don't want negativity in your life, right? Similarly, I also don't want negativity in my life. So always remember, negativity is bad. So your SV is bad, right? Negative, which means your schedule variance is bad, which means you are behind schedule or you are ahead of schedule. I'm doing bad, right? So bad is behind, not ahead. So C is the correct choice. Now, next, let's do in terms of cost. Cost is your EV minus AC. EV is 20,000, AC is 15,000. So 20,000 minus 15,000 is positive 5,000. Positive. We want positivity in our life, right? So positive is good. So your cost variance is good. Good means you are under budget or over budget. Under budget is good, right? You want to be always under budget. So your correct answer is A, which is under budget, and behind. So A and C are your correct choices. Question 11, another drag and drop question. Once again, guys, I've added mix of these questions so that you can get all the feeling and some of the important topics I can explain. So simple. I think we really don't need to even read the question, but still I will read it. Two of your resources, Ron and Susie, are having a conflict on an important project deliverable. Both Ron and Susie reached out to you for help to take a decision in order to move forward. Match each of the following conflict resolution techniques. Okay, conflict resolution techniques. On the right hand side, you have a scenario. On the left hand side, you have basically the terms. First, what is your reply? And you are the project manager. Let's see. A, you reply, do half development as per Ron and other half as per Susie. So you're coming up with a solution, but you're not taking one person's complete, right? That is your compromise. You're compromising. Okay, I'll do this, rest you do. Like, sometimes, our students from our boot camp, they, partner with another student and say that, okay, I will learn this, you learn this, and then we can explain to each other. People do. So compromise is where you're not coming up with a perfect solution, but you're doing half-half. So honestly, it's not a good choice because ultimately it will fail someday. But that doesn't mean that, if you're partnering with any one of your students from the bootcamp, that will fail. No, that's not the intention. Don't take it that way. B, you reply, I don't have time to deal with this right now. You both can take a decision on your own. So basically what you are doing is you are saying, I don't have time for my resources. Just do whatever you want to do. So that's you're avoiding the situation. It looks like an easy question. I'm happy. Good. C, I heard that you both did a great job in resolving the phase 1 issue. Good job and keep it up. Okay, so there is a conflict. There is one conflict and you are just talking about some third thing, which is great job. You're motivating the team. Basically, that's your smooth, where you first try to calm down both the parties and then you start talking about. So smooth typically comes with problem solve, typically. So that's your smooth, where you're talking about good things happening on the project. D, you reply, let's sit and talk about the issue and the reasons for favoring one approach over the other. Once we discuss the viewpoints, let's adapt a solution which is good for the project. Exactly, right? That's problem solving. You're not judging any one of your team member. You are coming up with a solution which is good for your project. That's your problem solving. That's your best technique. So Last choice is problem solve. Question number 12, once again, please time yourselves. Timing is very important. A lot of times people say that, Varun, I was not able to complete my test on time. Like my last student, she told me that, Varun, she missed 10 questions and she was very bright. So, timing is very, very important. And by the way, I have recorded a video on like most important tricks for the exam day. Link is in the description of YouTube. Please, please, please watch that video 100 times, 1000 times before your exam, because the things which I have told you, that will help you to avoid mistakes like, not completing the test on time. That's very, very important. Okay, let's see. Jonathan is a new project manager in your company and he needs your help in creating the WBS. He asks you if there is any software the organization uses to make the WBS and what he can do to complete it. You respond to him by stating that it is not the picture which is the most valuable result of creating a WBS. Dash is the most valuable deliverable of a WBS. So first of all, it's a fill in the blank question. And if you don't know what WBS is, it's a very big topic, a complete beast in itself. So I won't be able to do justice, but WBS is work breakdown structure. And what is the most? It's like a tree-based structure. If you see, that's your, you have the father, then child, then grandchildren and stuff. So that's your WBS. So what is the most important deliverable of WBS? A, activities. Nope. Activities are not part of your WBS. A lot of people make this mistake. They think that it's activities. No, it is not. Activities, it's actually the work packages in your WBS. They are decomposed into the activities in schedule management. So that's where your project schedule come into picture. Activities is the second stage, not that stage. So A is definitely out. B, a bar chart. As I told you, WBS is a tree-based structure. It's not a bar chart per se. So gone. C, list of risks. Okay. List of risk is not part of your WBS. For that we have RBS, risk breakdown structure. It has nothing to do with. D, team buy-in. Okay, very good. Now, I have eliminated option all first three options. What is this team buy-in? And people always ask me this, Varun, team buy-in. What is this? Team buy-in, it's the most valuable deliverable of WBS. Why? How? So WBS is your work breakdown structure. Basically, you are decomposing your entire project into small deliverables. You are keeping it in a tree-based structure. Then you assign those deliverables to your team members, and you're not assigning it. You're working with the team to understand which deliverable will be done by whom. So if a particular resource is not happy, is not comfortable with a particular deliverable, then you cannot, your project might get failed, right? So team buy-in is very important to allocate those work packages to your team members. So that's why a team buy-in is the most important valuable deliverable of a WBS. Question number 13, I hope you're liking it. Just 3 more to go. Before your actual PMP, also watch this video, because this video is not about just questions. This video is about the fundamentals. This video is about the concepts, the way I am, approaching to a question. That's what it is. You are part of a hybrid project which combines software development and IT integration tasks. The agile and predictive teams happen to be working in silos, causing misaligned deliverable scheduling. So what is silos? They are working independently, not together. Bad thing. You are in a hybrid project. Very important. A lot of questions are coming on hybrid. So, it's important. Which of the following measures would most appropriately enable the teams to better sync up their deliverable? Basically, you want them to work together. Which 2 options will help you so that they can work together? That's what the question is about. A, make use of the IT predictive scheduling to limit the features the software team starts to develop. I mean, is the team working together by this option? No. I mean, they're working in silos. Still, you're limiting the features. I don't know what this is even talking about. This is not resolving the problem in the question. My Einstein technique, the answer choice should always resolve the problem. What was Einstein doing? He was resolving the problem, right? So your answer choice should always resolve the problem described in the question. So option A is out. B, create a common Kanban board to queue and track progress of both teams' deliverables. Very good choice, right? You're doing something together, not in silos, so that everyone has a visibility. So B is, I think, kind of resolving the problem. Let's see, but let's not come to a conclusion. Let's read all the answer choices. Another important point: don't just straight away come up to a conclusion. Read all the not 4, 5, whatever. Read all the answer choices and then select the answer. C, break down IT work packages into more granular tasks to align to the software releases. Okay, you are breaking down the work packages into tasks, which is the correct thing to do. But once again, is it resolving the problem of working in silos? I mean, no, right? So gone. D, come up with a common milestones and an overall dependency network to be used by both teams. Once again, problem was they are working in silos. D, you are working on common milestones, something which is the dependency network diagram which can be used by both teams, right? Again, this is actually resolving the problem of them working in silos because you're doing something together. So D is a good choice. E, decompose the project network diagram into more granular tasks to help align to the software releases. First of all, incorrect things in this point in this answer choice. You don't decompose a network diagram into tasks. No, your work package is decomposed. And the same reason why C was out, nothing to do with this point. Same reason is E also is out because of the same reasoning. You're not resolving the problem of working in silos. You have to work together, and it's your option B, which is the Kanban board, common Kanban board, and option D, common milestones, something which is the network diagram used by both teams doing something together. So correct choice is your B and D. A business merger is currently in process. The project sponsor and a high-level executive has asked for alterations that appear to disregard the legal requirements. Which of the following should be the first step in the project manager's response? Once again, Neil Armstrong technique, the first person to land on moon. Same concept over here. The first thing you will do, A, send the CCB a change request. Yes, not a bad choice, good choice actually. You can send a request because something is, you're not following the legal requirements based on new things. So that could be a choice, A. B, verify with the organization's legal team for guidance. Actually a better choice if you ask me. If you remember that compliance question we did, we reached out to the compliance team first. I think the same logic applies here as well. First, work with the legal team, get their opinion, and whatever their decision is, if they say it's okay, then do a change request. If they say it's not okay, then come up with an alternative, right? So actually, you know what? B is a good choice. I would probably do B as the first step, but let me read the answer choices. C, start altering the project management plan according to the new situation. Absolutely no. Before C, I'll do A actually. So C is not my first choice. D, review the organization's lessons learned database for direction. I mean, you can do it, but is it resolving the root cause? Is it resolving the main problem? D may help, but not necessarily it will help. B is a direct solution, more straightforward because the problem is about legal. You're talking to legal. So B is a better choice. Yoo-hoo! Last question number 15. I'm excited, guys. I hope you learned something good. My team and I have put a lot of effort in these questions, and I hope you learn and you can see that. But let's see. Let's read. Let's do finally one more. 15th, the product owner of a software project. Okay, guys, before I explain, one thing, guys, if you noticed one thing, I have added, of course, predictive questions also, but I've added more and more agile and hybrid questions in this. Why? Because right now, all of my students are saying it's all about agile, it's all about hybrid. So that's why I deliberately added these questions so that you can learn something. So, okay, come back. 15. The product owner of a software project gets informed by the legal team that another company owns a patent for some innovative features developed by the agile team. Okay. The product happens to be 60% complete. Which of the following should be done by the product owner to come up with the next step forward? Okay, so your team did something, You have already completed 60%, but it's not as per the compliance. It's some patent is already filed. So what should you do? A, start the project closure process by escalating it to the sponsor. You can do that. Kind of extreme step, but definitely you can do that in that case. But is it my first step? That I'm not sure of. B, perform backlog refinement by working closely with the legal department and the team. Exactly. I think, immediately going with the project closure steps, I would say it's better to start with the backlog refinement. And if you don't know what backlog refinement is, once again, I've explained it in my agile videos on my website, www.eduhubspot.com. But backlog refinement is, you go back to the backlog, you add more requirements, you keep on refining it based upon the product owner, the feedback which we are getting. So that's a good choice, and you're also taking legal department into consideration, because ultimately they are the ones who raise the problem and they need to know about it. So B is actually a better choice than A. C, continue work on the project upon removing the patent component. Kiddish answer choice. If you select this, very bad, not good at all. Again, I'm not demotivating you. I'm just saying that you cannot just continue the work if you know what the problem is. If you have identified the problem, or someone has told you a problem, you need to take an action. In C, you're not taking an action. Solve the problem, guys. Einstein technique. Solve the problem. Be like an Einstein. D, cancel the project to prevent any further sunk cost. Once again, if you say, Varun, I don't know what sunk cost is absolutely fine. Don't worry, but cancel the project. Just from this statement, cancel the project is too extreme. You're not going to do that. So the correct answer is option B, which is do the backlog refinement, work with the legal departments and team, and you got it. Okay guys, I hope you loved my series of 1 to 15 questions, which I handpicked these questions. Once again, this is very, very important questions. I hope you learn it. But before you switch off this video, close this video, I really want you to do a few things for me, if you don't mind. I come up with these videos, a lot of videos, not just about questions, but in general about topic. People tell me that, Varun, your free content is much more better than your not mine, but others' paid content. So please subscribe to my channel. Very important. You will see also my next video lesson. You will also see my favorite video lesson. So don't forget to watch these things. In the description, my team and I do boot camps. We do mentor programs where we mentor you to pass this exam. Do check out our website, www.eduhubspot.com, and help us make you PMP, because we take pride in helping you pass this exam. So thank you. In your comments, do mention whether you liked the video or not. I'm looking forward to it.